today we're discussing how to fertilize our seedlings, our cut flower seedlings that we sown together 3 weeks ago, but most importantly about how not to kill our seedlings while fertilizing them. But first, is it necessary to feed them at this stage? Well, it depends. If our cut flower seedlings are directly in the garden bed, there's no need for us to fertilize them because they take all their nutrients directly from the soil like any other plant. But if you did what I did, if you planted the seeds in a tray or in cell trays, and then you pricked them up and potted them up in their individual pots, like I did in last week's episode, now that's a completely different story. Because the potting soil actually is no soil at all. It's more like a potting medium, like peat or cocoa coir, and it does not contain enough nutrients for the little seedlings to grow up well. And therefore a fertilizer could be most welcome. Even so, it's not compulsory to fertilize the young cut flower seedlings. I tested this myself inadvertently in my first year of gardening when I didn't know about all of this, and I did not fertilize my seedlings at all, and still they grew up. I had lots of flowers and I made lots of bouquets with them. If it's your first time here, I'm Michaela and I grow cut flowers right in our tiny little cottage in Zone 6 in Romania, Eastern Europe. I am doing a weekly series with detailed instructions on how to grow cut flowers. It's a cut flower demo with weekly episodes from sowing the seeds until making beautiful, colorful bouquets. Exactly 3 weeks ago, we sowed together the exact same cut flower seeds from the exact same little packages that I used in my first year of gardening, and from which I just told you I had wonderful, wonderful flowers that I never fertilized in their first 8 to 10 weeks of life. But of course, we are only human and we are eager to have the best flowers, the most showy ones, the most colorful ones. And that's why we feed them extra stuff since they are little seedlings to grow up healthy and happy. But here's the trick. If we don't apply any fertilizer at this stage, there's no problem, the plants won't die, they will keep up growing. But if we fertilize incorrectly, we risk to kill our plants all at once. We risk to burn them up completely. And this is exactly the entire purpose of this episode. Our first question should be, what kind of fertilizer can we use? What I like to use is liquid fertilizer because it quickly dissolves into the water, which we can feed to the roots of the plant, and they absorb it immediately. So we have a guaranteed intake in just a matter of hours. I'm now using a fish-based liquid fertilizer, something like Neptune's Harvest, but made in Greece. Or, of course, we can use whatever we have handy, like the most basic, normal liquid fertilizer for plants that you can find in any supermarket. Something generic, like this one. And you will see there are 2 major types of this kind of fertilizers. The one for house plants, for plants who are decorative through their green leaves, and the ones for flowers, for plants who flower. And counterintuitively, at this stage in the life of our little seedlings, we will use the indoor houseplant formula, not the one for the flowers with blooms, not yet. The second question should be, how much fertilizer to use when we feed the seedlings? Well, this is the secret. So normally we read what the label says and we feed the plant accordingly to the label. But for our young seedlings, we only use half the recommended quantities. These seedlings are still very young. They can't process food as well as a mature plant. If we feed them exactly how it says in here, we risk to feed them with too many nutrients at once, in which case the leaves are burned up, they turn brown, and the seedlings die. And this is how you can kill all your seedlings at once after so much effort put into sowing them and babying them and potting them up. So, in here it says to use 1 tiny cup of fertilizer in 2 liters of water. Well, I will use only half a cup of fertilizer in 2 liters of water. So half the fertilizer. We shake it very well. Half a cup. We shake the water very well too. And we use a water dispenser with a thin, long neck in order to reach the roots of the plant. We pour water slowly, directly on the roots without touching the leaves. And this one is the Cosmos, which I don't fertilize because it will only make lots of leaves and very little flowers. And we also fertilize the marigolds. And the third question is, how often should we fertilize our cut flower seedlings? I like to feed them once a week, but of course we must also follow the indications on the label of the fertilizer. But the bottom line is that we don't fertilize our seedlings every day, once a week. If you want to grow your first cut flowers from seed right now, it's not too late. Start now. You can sow them all the month of June and even at the beginning of July. I sow my last zinnias on the 1st of July. Click here to see how we sowed the perfect cut flowers for beginners, zinnias, marigolds, and cosmos. And happy gardening!